Hey ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about in this video, but I did kind of, I did kind of think about this a little bit beforehand, and what's coming to mind is, I want to talk about the differences between the new 5D world and the old 3D Matrix world that we were in. And I want to discuss the importance of that split that's been happening for a while now. There's no stopping the shift, there's no stopping the ascension that we're going through, that we have been going through. And, there's a huge difference between those two worlds. One world, the Matrix world, still very much operates from fear, from greed, from ego. Okay, it's all about image. It's all about what can I get, how much can I get, and it's all about exploitation. It's about exploitation and exploiting other people in order to gain, okay, for your own selfish gains. And that's the problem with the 3D matrix world, okay? And so when you begin to ascend, and that of course comes with spiritual awakening and awakening to source, to God, and to yourself too, right? It comes with aligning with your true nature, right? And realizing that you're connected to everything and everyone, and that you're not meant to exploit other people. You're not meant to be living the way you were conditioned to be living, right? And the 3D matrix, the old world, right, doesn't care about you. It just cares about itself. It cares about, it's selfish in nature, right? And so it's a dog eat dog out there, right? It's the rulers, or the leaders, or the idols of the 3D matrix world would be the likes of Andrew Tate, right? But once again, these people, right, they're operating from their wounded selves, okay, very caught up in their own ego, very damaged, very traumatized, very unhealed underneath it all, right? And so that's the problem, okay? People like that, they're not in alignment with their true nature, with themselves. They're very much buried underneath all the facade, all the image that they're trying to project, all the falsities, basically, right? And in turn, they're also, spiritually speaking, they're very, very vulnerable, okay? Because traumatized people open doors for demonic possessions or demonic entities to get in, to oppress them and to possess them, right? So there's a possibility for possession and oppression, right? And so people like that, people that are too caught up in their ego, they're susceptible to demonic possessions that they have no idea about. They have no idea that the spiritual world even exists. They're just not aware of it, okay? They think that they're just merely bodies, right? And yeah, and so this makes them very dangerous too, because once they get enough power, once they have enough money, they start, they're like a virus, basically, okay? So they begin to infect a lot of other people, okay? And so a lot of people, because of their status, because of their finances, right, they begin to look up to them, okay? And so these people, they should not be leaders, but they become leaders, right? And because they're corrupt and damaged, traumatized leaders, driven by demonic entities, basically, they begin to mislead so many other people, okay? And so they begin to infect the minds of other people. Like Andrew Tate, for example, he infected the minds of so many young men, right? And maybe older men too, but mostly younger men, right? And so he's like a virus, right? He infected the minds of so many men, and these men, they will they will start taking actions that are not in alignment with who they truly are. They'll start acting like him. They'll start taking, they'll start taking his advice that is toxic in nature, right? And they will idolize him. They'll want to be like him, okay? But when in fact, little do they know that he's misleading them, right? And he's really taking them farther away from their true selves, into if they were already in the darkness, right? Even farther away from that, right? And so so there's that, right? And so we don't need leaders like that, like him, right? Andrew Tate is a leader of the Matrix world. Okay, he's not the leader of the 5D world. And at this time, God wants us to step it up. He wants us to start creating, which is actually, it's already been happening. It already started a long time ago, right? The new leaders of the 5D world, they're already stepping it out. They're already creating, right? And so instead of consuming, which is what the 3D matrix world is about, in the 5D world, you are creating, right? You're creating. And I think everyone, in a sense, everyone is a leader in the 5D world, because in the 5D world, the way to get to it, right, is you have to recognize your own power, right? And you have to, once you take your power back from all the energy vampires that have been stealing it from you in the 3D matrix world, right? In order to gain for themselves, right? In order to, in order to make their own dreams a reality, right? So they've been using your energy, your life force, in order to make their own dreams come true, right? Well, in the 5D world, it doesn't work like that, okay? In the 5D world, and to get to it, right, you have to take your own power back. And by taking your own power back, your own energy back, right, and being very selective with your energy now, right? Being selective in terms of who you hang around with, in terms of who you are living with, in terms of who you're friends with, in terms of who you go into partnerships with, romantic or, just platonic ones, right? Business partnerships maybe, okay? You take your power back. This is you taking your power back. This is you recognizing the importance of your energy, of your life force, of your essence. From that, okay, and by not giving it away just to anyone, you unlock the potential to create now. You align with source, and from that energy, right, from being in alignment with source, you get downloads of a lot of information, universal information, information that, I guess you can say comes from the Akashic Records, right? So you can use that information or you can use those downloads to create the 5D world, okay, and to contribute to the 5D world. That's been, created already, okay, and that's in the works, okay. And so the 5D world, it's all about, collaboration and partnerships and selflessness instead of selfishness, right? Because in the 3D world, nobody cared about anyone else. Everyone created businesses just to profit. You even went to school. The 3D matrix schools, university were created to further someone else's agenda, okay? They weren't created for everyone else's advancement and to benefit everyone else. And that's really, really obvious, guys, because if you go back, for example, to schools, right? Let's just take just your regular school, for example, okay? Schools have been known to traumatize girls, okay? And to feminize guys, okay? And let me just explain this to you, okay, guys? I watched an excellent video about this, okay? And basically the way that schools traumatize or feminize boys, right, is that they boys from the ages of 3 to 5, they get huge surges of testosterone, right? And that basically makes them extremely like rowdy, right? And they just like, they want to run around, they want to play, they want to jump around, they want to maybe play fight, right? And that's because of testosterone, right? But in schools, they make boys act like girls, okay? They want them to sit in circles, right? They just want them to sit, basically, and not do anything, right? And so that creates a lot of anxiety for boys, right? Because they don't have the outlet for their emotions, for their energy, right? For their high energy. They want to get out there, they want to play, they don't want to sit, okay? Like girls, right? Girls are able to handle it because we are slightly different, right? We have different physiology, right? We have different hormones, right? I mean, we have the same hormones too, but you know, we have a lot less testosterone than boys, right? And the testosterone is what is driving a lot of the boys' behavior, right? Too. So there's that, right? But so in turn, this school feminizes boys because they want boys to act like girls, and they're not, okay? There are differences, and those differences should always be honored and respected, right? And school, for the most part, does not respect those differences, okay? In fact, school wants everyone to be the same. They want everyone to conform. And, you know, hence the uniform, right? In a lot of schools, you have to wear uniforms, right? Uniform means in one form. Uniform, right? In one form. Okay, yeah, human beings are very similar in nature, right? But we also have our differences, okay? And those differences should be respected, and those differences should be honored, because our differences is what make us so beautiful. It's what makes this world so beautiful, right? If everything was the same, right? And there are movies about this too, right? I think like The Stepford Wife or something. I don't know. I've never seen that movie, you know, but if everything was the same, if everyone acted the same, this world would have been so freaking boring. Like, I wouldn't want to be in it, to be honest with you. You know, so like, you know, why would you want everything and everyone to be the same, right? So it's our differences that that make this world into such an awesome experience, right? By creating different things, we can all enjoy them, like, wow, okay, and we can learn from them, and we can grow from them, from those differences, right? So there's that, and so a school wants to take that away from you, okay? And not only that, but also other people pressure you into being the same. So if you are different, right, then you will automatically be targeted. You will have a target on your back in school, and you will start getting bullied for your differences, okay? And so that's another problem that I have, which in turn, right, well, you know, as a teen, right, you will have a lot of you will have a really difficult time with that, because you will not understand, like, what am I doing wrong? What is wrong with me, right? Like, you take everything personally, right, as a teen, because you don't realize that it's all about other people yet, right? And so you and it's not personal, right? It's just differences. Also, they threaten other people, right? They scare other people. They can't put you into a box, right? And so they're afraid of you. Like, who are you? What might you do, right? So it's like our little monkey brains, right, are still kind of afraid of differences, right? And so hence school, you know, that's where school comes in, right? Where everyone has to act the same, be the same, dress the same, right? In order to become good little workers for corporations that are profiting from your sameness, right? And when you will also quickly realize that when you actually enter the workforce, you will have to be the same too. You will have to act the same. This time around, you will have a monkey suit on, but it will be the same as in high school, right? And so if you're different in any way in your corporation, okay, and you're working in an office, you're gonna have a target on your back, and you're probably not gonna you're not gonna be able to hold your job for too much, okay? And if you are not the same, right? I mean, if you are the same, then you're probably not being your true self. You're not being yourself. And do you really want to live a life like that, just pretending to be someone you're not, just to hold your job down? And guess what? When you have a job, okay, you're basically you're going to build someone else's dreams, right? So yeah, there's actually, sometimes we do need jobs, right? Because they do teach us a lot of things, right? But at the same time, once again, by having a job, right, you're going to be building someone else's dreams, not yours. Okay, so just always keep that in mind, okay? So it might be good temporarily, okay, but a lot of us, especially back in the days, they used to get stuck having one single job for the rest of their lives. Just imagine that, okay? And so they had to pretend and wear a mask 24/7. Oh, not 24/7, but you know what I mean, okay? For 40 hours, at least 40 hours a week, okay? And that's like a lot of your time, right? So it's a huge chunk of your time, and you're pretending to be someone else, and then you just go home and you sleep, okay? And then you wake up and you have to do it all over again, okay? And so there's that, right? So anyways, let's go back to school, and let's go back to the girls now, okay? The girls, right, their amygdala, right, their amygdala is firing, okay, before their pre-adolescences, okay? And so they are extremely afraid of judgment, okay? And so unlike boys, right? And so that school, because of that, traumatizes them, because they feel like they have to perform. They have to be good. This is the idea where the good little girls comes from, okay? They have an extreme fear of judgment, right? Being judged, and so that's why they're on their best behavior, right? And they're trying to get A's, right? And they're pressured to get A's in school, okay, guys. I remember this was a huge issue for me, guys. Okay, in school, I was so pressured to perform, right? That I just one time I had to leave during a class. When our exam started, right, I had to leave the class to cry due to the amount of pressure that I guess maybe I placed on myself too, but that also has to do with girls' physiology, right? And so yes, it is very real. I felt it in school, guys, okay? And really it's extremely traumatic, okay? It is, okay? We should not be placing so much pressure on young minds, on young children, or on teens even, okay? But we are, okay? And so the whole system, guys, okay, feminizes boys, traumatizes girls, okay? Tries to fit people into a box. A lot of people will not, like highly spirited people, for example, they're going to be viewed as disruptive, right? Because of their high energy, okay? And so they're going to be labeled as problematic, disruptive, possibly, okay? And, they're just not the same. They're different, okay? And so once again, that difference is not considered in school. Once again, also, if you consider teachers, who are the teachers? Who are the influences that are influencing your children, right? You don't know. You don't know who those influences are, okay? In most cases, they're demonic, okay? They're demonic. They don't... they might seem good on paper, and that's why they were hired, okay, but they don't have good spirits, so they're not going to influence your children for the better. They're going to, once again, because teachers also have a lot of influence on children, okay, and so that always has to be considered, Okay, so there's that, right? Of course, then there's, what are they teaching our children nowadays in America? They're learning the critical race theory, right, and things like that, like, oh, a boy is not a boy, a girl is not a girl, and things like that, basically, right? And so what are you learning in school nowadays? A lot of the information that you're learning is nonsense. It's nonsense, okay? And so there's that, right? And so, look, we have to. I have so many problems with your standard school. Like, you have no idea, guys. There's also the fact that you have to wake up too early. You're waking up too early. Students are sleep deprived. Okay, there's also sleep debt, right? So once you're deprived of sleep, you need to make up for it. Okay, so they're trying to make up for it during the weekends. Okay, and they can't really. Okay, and so there's the fact that your brain is not going to develop as well, your body is not going to develop as well if you're not getting enough sleep. Sleep is like essential, guys. Okay, and so children are in school for too long and they're waking up way too early for it. Okay, and in turn that's affecting their health. Okay, and so there's a problem with that. So schools really have to, once again, all of that points to the fact that school is not for your interest. It's not for the interest of the individual that's involved. It's not for the interest, for the benefit of your students. It's actually there to benefit someone else. And that's why someone else is paying. That's why it's free, right? Nothing is free. Okay, so you'll be paying for it with your mind and health and physical health and emotional health. Okay, and so don't think for even a second that schools are free. Okay, they're not. Okay, and they're not for your benefit or the benefit of your child. Okay, and so guys, and school is just one example of the 3D matrix. Okay, there are so many other examples that most corporations, in fact, they do not benefit you. They're for the benefit of the narcissists that have started these companies, the ego behind it, the damaged individual that has started these companies, these corporations, okay, and that's in charge now. And so we have to step away from that, and we have been doing that, which is beautiful. Okay, and really do the inner work so we can start ascending and creating from our heart space and creating new systems to benefit the humanity as a whole, because there's a great split that's happening right now. Okay, and that great split is between the 3D matrix world that's getting even more lost and that's heading towards a cliff. Okay, and there's a split that's happening between the 5D world, right, and the 3D. So the 5D, the people that are that's the new world, right? That's the new earth. That's those. Once again, I already mentioned this, right, and I talked about it, but it comes with evolved consciousness. It comes with evolved awareness of self, of other people around you. It comes with healed individuals, right? So that's extremely necessary in order to enter and step into that world. So the 3D world, the 5D world is all about expanded awareness, expanded consciousness, knowledge, wisdom, heart, operating from your heart space and building from that, right? And so it is time for all of us, okay, that are in alignment with this message to start creating from our heart space and to start creating in order to redefine this old world and reconstruct this old world and build something better. We need to build back better, right? I'm going to use their expression ironically, right? But we really do need to build back better, okay? And that comes down to, once again, spirituality, right? The change must start from within first, right? And it has, for many, many people, it's already starting, and it has started from within, right? They change themselves first, right? And now they can produce the output into the world that will change the external world, right? And so that's how it works, right? And so, you know, as within, so without, right? That's where this expression comes from too, right? And so, yeah, that's, I guess that's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, guys, I think it's time for us to start, of course, to start thinking about uh, doing things differently too, right? And so it is, and I know it is very tricky because there's so many factors involved, and it's scary too, right? It's scary because you're thinking, okay, I'm a pioneer in this, right? How do I do this? A lot of homeschooling parents, for example, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to get started. They don't know, and they're afraid. Like, okay, is this the right choice, right? Am I making a mistake, right, by not conforming to the model that's damaging? Yes, you are making the right choice, okay? But we have to redefine everything. We have to redefine our values. We have to redefine success. We have to redefine everything, because the old is no longer working. It's not going to work. The old ways of being, right? Going to school in order to get a job, in order to slave away for someone else, and get nothing as a result, right? It's no longer working. And guys, people are also understanding this through pain, right? Pain is the greatest teacher, right? And so trust me, when you've had enough of something, you're gonna want something different, and you're gonna want something better, and you're never going to want something that you've had that caused you so much pain, right? So there's that too, and people are realizing this. And I can also understand why so many people don't trust anything or anyone anymore, because the matrix system was all based on lies, so we've been lied. So another interruption. Okay, so, but it's okay. So the old has to go, and because you're the new world leaders, well, all of you are, right? I believe all of us, right, the ones that have ascended, are the leaders now, okay? Because we're leading ourselves, right? And and we're collaborating, right? We're collaborating and creating something better for all of us, right? And but in order to step into this new world, right, the ones from the old world, they have to change from within. Otherwise, they're not welcome. They cannot come into the new world. They really cannot ascend, right? It's impossible, because they're just going to step in and reinfect everything else, right? At the same, but although that is kind of difficult when you're, well, it's almost impossible actually. They're not going to reinfect, okay? They're not. And maybe that's the wrong way of saying it. They're not going to reinfect anything, because the ones in the 5D, they have very strong boundaries, and they are careful with their energy, right? And so they're not just going to allow just about anyone to just come in, right, anymore. And so the ones in the 3D are going to be forced to change, okay, or else they'll cease to exist, right? There's a movie about this too, right? And the movie is like this. The 3D matrix world is going to be taken over by it's going to be taken over by AI, right? And so and AI is going to be is going to enslave them, and they're going to be controlled and monitored by AI now. Okay, and they're going to own nothing and they're going to be happy, right? They're going to be very unhappy. Not to say that you cannot own nothing and not be happy. You can own nothing and be very happy, actually. Okay, which is ironic, you know. But people in the 3D world, they're afraid of owning nothing, and they think they cannot be happy without that. Okay. Because the 3D matrix relies on consumption, on owning things, right, and having things, and they think it's what brings them or will bring them happiness, when in reality it doesn't, right? But so there's that, right? So a lot of, you know, movies have been shown to you guys about this, about the fact that you'll be the 3D matrix. The people in the 3D matrix are going to be even more controlled, even more, you know, they're going to be even more unhappy, even more sick, and unless they're forced to change. And of course, this hopefully will force them to change and evolve and grow and heal in order to move beyond that control, and to finally take their power back and say, no, I'm not having that. You know, I am an individual, I'm unique. I came here to share my unique gifts with the world, and I came here to share my godly gifts rather than my gifts, right, from the wound itself, or that come from the ego, right, or demonic, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, right? It's like you're not here to create from your wound itself, because those so-called gifts or creation is exactly what's going to destruct a lot of people. Okay, I believe that's how AI was actually created, and even social media. Although you can argue that there are two sides to all of it, right? And so, yes, but at the end of the day, well, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say if we would be better off without those things or not, as we do benefit from them, right? But I don't have the answer to that. But from everything that those you know, things have already done that's not positive, like poor mental health, you know, less time together physically, and in turn more isolation, right? All of those things, more laziness, you know, less physical activity, right, and things like that. I can go on and on, basically, right? It looks like that technology is driving us, right? And we want to have a balance, perhaps, okay? And so maybe we can use all of those tools in order to create a better world, too. But we must not be the tools, right? We have to use them as tools. So all of those things, they were meant to be used as tools. But instead, many people are being used like tools by those technologies and social media and so on, right? So there's that. Anyways, but guys, thank you so much for watching, okay? Leadership in the 5D world, or to create the 5D world, you have to move beyond fear. You have to step into this role and get very comfortable in it, okay? And we have to start doing better. We have to redefine everything that was old and that worked, and we have to crash it all down, okay? We have to, or let it self-destruct, okay? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and check out all my products, guys.